I'm John Weston. I attended Oswin Avenue from 1943 till Christmas 1946. I used to live at 32 Oswin Avenue, which was nearly opposite the boys' entrance gates. When I attended school, I had one sister and two elder brothers and a younger brother. My oldest sister went to Oswin, the girls' school, and my two older brothers, they went to Oswin, and so did my younger brother when I left. I couldn't tell you what classes they were in, but I know they went there. My parents, my father was a coal miner. My mother, she used to work in a cafe in town, and all my uncles, they were all miners. We were a mining family. When I attended Oswin Avenue, boys and girls there were two different schools. The girls had their playground where they used to do all their activities and played netball and stuff in there. That was opposite, if any of you know it, what we call West Avenue. It used to lead down to Ronald Road and Furnival Road. And the boys' entrance was, and the playground was opposite our house, number 32. And you had the girls' school and the boys' school, and so there was quite a distance between playgrounds. I used to wait until the bell went and then nip out. Sometimes jumped over the wall or sometimes through the gate. We used to call Mr. Mason, the head teacher, Old Pop Mason. He was getting on a bit in years then, but he was a good head teacher. He was fair, but like I say, if you did out wrong, you got punished. The teachers were fine, strict, but fair. Naturally, if you did out wrong, you got then we used to have cane. And one of my friends, he had a knack. When the cane came on his hand, he used to do something with his thumb, and it used to break the cane. One time we had to go to see Mr. Mason. When we got in there, Barry stuck his hand out, and Mr. Mason said, "No, you bend over." So he got his on the backside. Well, the other two got ours on the end. We didn't know how to work that thumb. Well, I attended the school in the quadrangle. That's the area between the boys and the girls' school. I know when we were leaving, Mr. Anderson, he always used to say, "Nothing Weston, the boy that takes the biscuit." That's got to be Western biscuit, you know. We used to have livestock. There were a couple of guinea fowl, a couple of ducks, I think there were 4 rabbits. We got detailed, me and John Renders, who lived next door but one to me, we got detailed to feed them during the school holidays. We weren't going away. So you used to have to go out, clean them out, feed them, and we used to take the stuff that we cleaned out to John's father's allotment. I don't know when they got rid of them because they were still there when I left. But they're funny looking things, them guinea fowls. First time we'd ever seen them. When we used to have the air raid drills, there was no specific time. That were just to the left of the main gate, boys' entrance. When we got in there, we had to put his masks on. Mr. Mason or one of the other teachers, if he were busy, he used to come round ringing the bell. It could be any time, just before lunch, just after lunch, halfway through lessons. But as soon as that bell rang, you had to be out, grab your gas mask, walk in an orderly fashion, no running, until you got into the air raid shelters. And that's when you sat on the benches at each side. Then you put your gas masks on. You used to stay there. Teacher used to look at his watch. So teacher put his on as well. But You've never wore a gas mask. Funny feeling. I stayed there for probably 20 minutes and then back into school. Funny enough, and luckily for us, we never actually had to use them when there was an air raid, because all the air raids seemed to happen at night. Oh. During the war period, some houses at the Anderson shelters, we didn't. And if there was an air raid, my father used to tell us to all go down the cellar. But sometimes by the time my mother got us all up, the all clear had gone. Because she'd come in one room and shout us out, and then go in the other room to my sister and shout her, and then nobody was taking notice. There was probably there'll be a time that happened thing. And sometimes we used to look out the window and watch the old doodle booth going over, see the flame coming out the back. You were all right while you saw the flame. And once that flame went out, you know, it was coming down. We had some good times at that school. I don't think there was a better school in Doncaster myself. Land Army Hostel, just down the lane from the school, on the way to Exthorpe Flat. Quite a few Land Army girls in there. One night, there was a knock on our door, and there was this Land Army girl there. And Mother answered the door, and she asked if there was anyone who could escort it down the lane, because it was a dark night. And apparently, one of the girls had been attacked a few nights before. My mother and I escorted her down. She invited us in, and we had a cup of tea with all the girls. After that, it seemed to become a regular thing. At the weekends, on Sundays, we sat there and knock on the door, and girls would be there asking for escort down. It became a regular thing at weekend. My father was in one day, and he had me and him escorted them down. Then one Christmas, some of the girls were left behind, but they didn't all go home. Some lived too far, I think. So Mother invited, there were 6 of them, for Christmas lunch. So we put them round our table. They enjoyed it that much, that thing. A few months later, they were having a birthday party for one of the girls in the hostel. And they came and invited all our family. So we all went down, that thing, and we enjoyed it. And then the girls at Christmas asked me if I went, and my mates went carol singing. I said, yeah, we do. So she said, well, Mama, can you come and sing carols for us? So 6 of us went down and sang carols for her. It was good, because all the girls made a fuss of us. And after that, whenever they saw us out, they always used to shout, enjoying fun with us. One weekend, we were on Exthorpe Flats. There was an army unit based there, and 2 of the girls were there, and these soldiers were messing about. And one of the girls told them, if you don't behave, I'll set my gang on to you. Of course, he just laughed and said, what gang? And so she just walked over to us. We were on the swing. So we all got around, got the catapults out, and threatened the soldiers. After that, all the soldiers were good to us, and sometimes there's a click behind the ear for being cheeky. But some people said it was Home Guard unit. You didn't have Home Guard on their arm. They were regular army. It was the searchlight unit. And we were at the visiting the Land Army girls when they were having parties. That's where I learned to dance, because the girls got me up to do different dances. And mates were surprised when we started going dancing when we left school. Said, how did you learn to dance? I told them, Land Army girl. So once after we'd been carol singing, for the girl, can you learn some lads to dance? Well, two of them got up and learned, the others wouldn't. Then they wished they had later on, and we used to go dancing. When I left school in December 1946. I got my name down to start apprenticeship at the LNER workshops known as the plant, but we didn't start there until August, so I had to find jobs to take me up to that. But the first job I had when I left school was working at the Danum Hotel. I was a hall porter, and we had a couple of long-term residents there. One was the owner of a jeweller shop in town, Skinner and Robinson. Mr. Skinner lived at the hotel. And there was an old lady in there, Mrs. Pointer, who used to own Pointer's Butchers. Took her up to her room one day, and talking to her like, and, oh, my mother worked at Pointer's when she was a young girl. Mrs. Pointer said, oh, what was her maiden name? I said, they called her Rose Law. Oh, yes, I remember little Rosie, she said. And I told my mum when I went home. Good God, she said, did you remember me? I said, yeah, she said something about one day you were in there and there were a mouth on end of your finger in your finger. Mum said, yeah, I remember that. I had there a few weeks there, and a job came up for training as automobile engineer. I started work at Wilkinson's near the Danum Hotel, and I was in there in the battery room to start with, because I was apprentice. We used to wear Wellingtons and rubber aprons, but with the acid running down, I got down to my last pair of trousers, so my parents packed the job in for me there. After that, I started the job at Intake, repairing bicycles, and sometimes went out with Mr. Bird, because he used to do electrical work in houses. After that, came up to start at the plant in September 1947, after taking intakes in. That was interesting. That became a fitter. On leaving the plant, I joined the RAF. I joined the RAF in 1950. I did what we used to call square bashing, that's basic training. And I think that was the best thing I ever did, really. And it was, we were in the RAF, one of the stations we were at. I was outside the workshop, having a smoke, looked up and saw our planes coming in. I shouted my mate to come out, because following one of them was this, like a silver ball, followed the plane for about 5 minutes and then shut off. And the pilot landed. He explained to the CO that this silver sphere had followed him all the time he'd been up, and apparently nobody else had seen it, only me and my friend. When the pilot found out, we had to go and sign the UFO book, and the powers that be said it was a weather balloon, because I think they were trying to hide it. Recent things that found out that these UFO apparently have been visiting us for quite a while. After leaving the Air Force, had a few jobs. It went to Briggs Motors, then it turned to Fords. Came out, they weren't setting on back at the plant, so I did a spell down Roddington Pit as underground fitter. I wasn't there 2 years, and I got buried, and I thought it was time to come out. After that, they were setting on at the harvesters, so I went to harvesters, then foundry maintenance. And then from there, I went back to the plant. That was brilliant. All the lads there were brilliant to work with. Great set of lads. And I lasted there until I retired. Blue Peter, steam locomotive. That was there for one of the open days. That's when all the crowds came in and you couldn't get near it. Mallard, she came back. But mostly we were all doing repairs on Deltics. But down in New Build, they were building new locomotives, but diesels. Not very often we saw steamers come in. Now and again they asked for volunteers to go to York Railway Museum to work on them. A few lads went and worked on them, but I never did. And now I just sit here and look out window. But sometimes I go out walking and join the walking club. And for the last 15 years we've been going up to Patterdale for the weekend in the Patterdale Hotel. And from there we've done quite a few walks. I think that's about it, isn't it?